there on the Choo-Choos with Thresh. Cannot defend her. I cannot believe
it's gonna be the game.
I can let it final.
Mickey Well gets in behind him, trying to turn it in radius. Wave onto everyone. Triple kill for Radier and Mickey Well, last man standing. It's a slugfest. Double kill, triple kill, double kill, quadra kill, double kill, triple kill. My God, that was amazing.
Hooks on, Big Swift has gone mega, but they killed us apart. Can't connect the chain, and Destiny, Hook is on. Swiffer is dead, Ray locked down Raze. Trippies gets that kill, and Spurs is stuck between the entire Wolfpack. Double kill for Fantix, they're running towards the Nexus.
Welcome to OPL Week 3, Day 1, brought to you by Hungry Jacks. You're getting a look at the Tectonic roster, looking to pick up their first victory today, but of course they're going to have tough opponents as they are going up against the Chiefs Esports Club, and Raze is back. Hello everyone, I'm Jake Spawn Tiberi. Joining me on the desk is the Ejim God, Ejim Ali God.
The Ejim
Ali
God?
God, Ejim. I can't speak today.
I mean, I am the only Ejim, so I mean, hell yeah.
Did you just finger guns the camera?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I like finger guns. I'm a big fan. We have a fantastic week of OPL action coming your way. We'll kick it off with the Chiefs going up against Tectonic before Order take to the Summoners Rift versus Sin Gaming. Of course, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time, Avant Gaming will go up against Legacy in what should be a fantastic match before the Direwolves take on the full-strength Bombers.
Ooh.
They've had a bit of tweaks. You know, maybe some bigger wings.
Oh, okay.
A longer runway, because they couldn't get in the air, so if you just add runway.
Not gonna lie, we haven't spoken about it, but I was sitting here thinking, like, which pun is he gonna make for the play in this week? Because I picked up the 2 new players here coming in, Luch and Sleeping, obviously. And there you go, you've nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very good at this. However, before we get into all the players are going to be playing, we do have to talk about the fact that patch 8.2 has dropped. And it's a patch that has a lot of changes. I know support changes in particular is an area you're very interested in.
Yeah, I think the support changes definitely hopefully going to spice things up in the bottom lane. No more sight stones, so a bit of a change for supports, but overall, double relic shield lanes no longer works on ranged champions, so we're not going to have Cogmore and Twitch just starting lane with that. Hopefully, we see some more spicy support picks as well with that damage, but another few notable changes. Nunu is the big thing. We are in 8.2, but it is post-hotfix, so he's not obscenely busted like you saw in your solo queue games probably. But we potentially might see him today. I don't think he's broken, but I think he could be good.
Yeah, I think that it just puts him on a niche kind of role. And if you are able to get something like a Zero, you want to run AP, very heavy compositions, you can use him because of that scaling that he adds. The other thing that is big for the laning phase is targeted spells now draw CC onto creep. So things like Vlad Harass that was very obnoxious, Cassiopeia E at level 2 where she would just charge you down.
No more, just starting in the side of the lane, like Cassio level 1 coming in with the fangs. Yeah. None of that.
You've really converted me to noises and hand actions, by the way.
like it.
I think it is a very solid form of communication. But before we dive into today's first matchup, let's throw it over to Laura, who's over at the analyst couch.
Thank you, Jake. I'm here today with Aaron Choo-Choo's Bland. Welcome.
Thank you.
You've just spent the past 2 weeks subbing in for the Bombers. How was that for you?
It was really fun playing again. I've got some imports, some new faces to play with. I thought it was really fun. Oh, and this is my game last weekend where
Frontline Corky.
Yeah, Frontline Corky. I managed to pick up a cheeky first blood on Swiffer here. It was definitely good to get something like that.
Proud of it.
Oh, I like that flash.
Did you enjoy your time on the Bombers?
Yeah, no, Bombers is a great organization. They're very new. Definitely some very good staff behind the players that they've got there. It's a shame that I couldn't stick with them for that long, but I definitely think that they've got a lot going for them in the future weeks of this first split.
Well, before we get into this first game between the Chiefs and Tectonic, I want to grab your thoughts on it and also your prediction on who you think is going to take it out.
I think Chiefs are just looking too good at the moment. I think it'll be easy 2-0 for them, but I do think Tectonic with their pocket picks like the Urgot may be able to prepare something in this new patch, but I think Chiefs will come away with the 2-0.
I'm going to give it 2-0 to the Chiefs as well. But remember, if you would like to make your own predictions at home, head on over to opltips.com.au. We've got XP boosts and RP prizes up for grabs, as well as $25, $50, and $100 Hungry Jacks vouchers. For more information on those prizes, make sure you head on over to opltips.com.au. Also, if any of you at home have any questions for our mid lane superstar here, Choo Choos will be answering them later today. So make sure you send them over to our Facebook page or over to our Twitter account at OPL with the hashtag like no other. And you could pick up a free mystery skin.
Oh, I love mystery skin.
Sweet deal. Thanks for your prediction, Choo Choos. But to get
Nice.
this first game underway, let's hand it back to Jake and Bryce.
Thanks so much, Laura. Great to have Aaron with us today. He has officially left the Bombers, but has tweeted out that he's looking for a new organisation. So OPL managers, call him. He is available.
I've done twice now, and you've just taken us. That's 3 out of 3 in the first
That's good.
5
I
minutes
like it.
of the show.
I think the sound effects are very, very good. As we dive into the first match up of the day, it is going to be Chiefs taking on Tectonic. And as you can see, Raze is back. Actually, all the players are back. So a big OPL week this week for us.
Yeah, and definitely you have some star players that were hitting the bench for the first 2 weeks. We have for the Bombers, Luch and Sleeping, who we have not seen yet. We'll see tomorrow. You mentioned Chief Raze already. Legacy, Mimic, their Korean import coming through tomorrow as well. Tectonic haven't had any changes here, but Sin, Kuden we'll see later today, and then Direwolves obviously have Schönfire coming back.
Yeah, exactly right. So some massive additions coming in. But as we take a look at this game, I mean, we've talked a little bit about how these teams shape up. I think one man that we need to start talking about from Tectonic's lineup is Shock. We said we wanted to see him with more priority. Certainly got it last week. And although they didn't pick up a victory, going 41 minutes against Legacy is certainly something that is building towards success.
Yeah, 100% building towards success is the way to put it. That was definitely their best game of the split. And Cyclone mentioned in the interview for that game, I think, that Shock had a lot of questions thrown at him last season about his champion pool. And then this season, Johnny Cyclone did mention that they like putting teams in uncomfortable situations in the draft. So Shock has rounded out that champion pool to cover the meta, but also those unmeta picks, those off-meta picks with the Urgot. And we did see a bit of that last week.
Yeah, certainly did. At the same time, we have Raze coming back into a Chiefs lineup that was able to still take a game off Direwolves without their superstar 80 carry. What do you think Raze would have been like sitting on the bench throughout the first 2 weeks? You did play a lot with him last split.
Yeah, he's someone that in the public eye looks to be quite reserved and quite quiet, but in a team environment, he's pretty vocal. So I think it would have been really hard for him coming in. And watching someone like Fantix, I think, was the best performing substitute for any team for the first 2 weeks of the OPL, and I think that'd be pretty rough, being the starter 80 carry and then watching a mid laner come in and then performing pretty well. Like you'd have to be coming into week 3 now, and he'll be wanting to prove that he's better than Fantix. That's already proved he's pretty good there.
Yeah, I mean Fantix and Praelis, kind of the two best performing substitutes. Of course, Shern going to be back for Direwolves tomorrow, but I do want to talk about the X factor that Raze does bring. I mean, he's a very, last year at least, we haven't seen him play with Destiny, but he was a conservative laner. You, on the other hand, not so much, so maybe some miscommunication there.
Whoopsie.
But in late game team fighting, this is a guy that, you know, a full item behind does not matter. He's a clutch player.
Yeah, comparing him to someone like FBI, who partnered with Rogue, is more of a laning 80 carry. Quinn, Raze is the opposite. He's a passive laner for the most part, and then gets to team fights, and then starts popping off. You mentioned like the Penta Zaya, like flashing forwards, and then getting up, like not up out of his chair, but he's just screaming in the microphone, like over that. I actually forget what he was saying, like screaming, "I'm the best" against the Direwolves. That was a moment. That was a moment and a half.
It's actually one of the most memorable moments of the OPL. I was casting over there. We used to stand for it, and I could just hear him through the wall, absolutely go berserk. We are ready to bring the lineups onto your screen. Of course, it is going to be the Chiefs Esports Club. Swiper is their top laner. Babip is their jungler. Right? Oma, their superstar mid laner. Raze, of course, back from suspension, is their 80 carry, and Destiny is their support. Fantix now heading into the coach's role, swapping the jersey for a nice shirt.
I was about to say, I think this is the first time I've ever seen Fantix in like a business shirt, not a jersey. That's it's a change.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a good change. I'm looking forward to seeing Fantix's draft. Of course, they're going up against Tectonic. It's going to be Paprise in the top lane. Swaith is their rookie jungler. Shock, their superstar mid laner. Low, their 80 carry, tilting their support. They need a lot more out of that duo today, and we'll see whether Cyclone can get them a matchup, because I've got two minds. You either go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs in the bottom lane, or you just try and hide them and scale, because really, can this bottom lane, in their current form, measure up against Destiny and Raze?
If you're just completely honest, right, it's a no. Absolutely not. They've had poor performances the first 2 weeks, but I think something to note, Spellbook wasn't touched in the 8.2 patch changes, but I think because of the Relic Shield changes, you have a lot overall less sustain in the bot lane. So potentially last weekend, their most successful game, or they did try and play super greedy comps, with these Sivajana sort of situations with that Spellbook AD carry. So we might see less of that on this patch because it's easier to punish the laning phase. So it'll be interesting to see if Tectonic go for a similar sort of style there, or if they do try and ramp it up.
Yeah, and it seems to be a mixed bag with Spellbook, because on one end, if you take it something like Tajana and you get like an 875 or like 975 back for pickaxe, it seems like such an awkward timing, but no champions apart from Ezreal really want to match that back timing.
Yeah.
So they will generally greed out to stay for the BF sword. Then Siva with Janna Shield, with the ability to pick up an early pickaxe, can just constantly shove the wave, and if you don't take Spellbook in response, you just get shut out of the lane or you lose your turret. So we'll see whether they can come up with something clever there around back timings or around rune choices.
And I think 8.2 is pretty interesting because it's not necessarily a huge drastic change. We did see some EU LCS this morning, and it's a fairly similar meta. But I think this is the point of change where the meta starts shifting, because I want to see some more spiciness in the bot lane. I think if you're still going to be blind picking Tahm Kench, blind picking tanks, now that there is that less sustain, like someone at some point is just going to be like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to pick MF. I'm going to pick Zara. And we're just going to like just ram down your turret real early, put jungle pressure bot side, and I want to see that start happening this week.
And we haven't necessarily seen it in the region, English-speaking regions like the EU LCS and the NA LCS. We saw Academy this morning. However, China has made the adaptation. The adaptation is a much higher priority being placed on Lee Sin. We saw some Rek'Sai. We're seeing like first picks Kha'Zix over there. Their answer to this stale meta is to pick up an aggro jungler that can have immediate impact with tank supports and camp out those lanes. We'll see if we do see anything like that today. Urgot gets a respect ban. Chiefs do not want to see it. And Kog'Maw, one of the best scaling AD carries, if not the best scaling AD carry on this patch, taken off the board. Kalista hit by Tectonic. Obviously, agree with you that they don't want to fight fire with fire.
So we do see that one coming through. And I do want to mention, we have talked a lot about Tectonic so far, but Chiefs, Swiper, they did get the 2-0 last weekend, but he was heavily punished by AV. Picking that
Swiper
on.
is the kind of player, and this is what I love about DOS. He would be happy about that game.
Yeah.
He would come out of that game doing the Swiper nod, saying, yeah, cover the armor titan. You can't get me that far behind, boys. I still had impact in team fight.
Yeah, he did, 100%.
And he's the captain of the team. I mean, at a certain point, if you target him and take him down, then that will play on his emotions. But if you target him, it doesn't work. He gets that edge back. You saw game 2 that he withstood the camp much more effectively.
Yeah, 100%. We do see the Galio banned away then by... Oh, the Nunu first pick has already come through. Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but the Galio ban, that was part of the reason why he fell so far behind. Pabu just pushing him in on the Gnar into on matchup. Galio comes up with Frey, just dove him time and time again. So Tectonic is a lineup that we expect to play through their top side if they're going to be able to win this game. So do they try and replicate?
Paprise flashes at Alawi at Swiper. Swiper's a very good Alawi player. Nunu picked up. Caitlyn taken away by Tectonic. You feel that you have to do that. As soon as there's a Nunu in the game, the additional Phantom Dancer pretty much reverts the Caitlyn nerf when she was busted. So that is certainly a good pickup there.
Yeah, but there still are other options for the Chiefs. I mean, Varus serves very well with those Runan bolts late game. You have the Tristana, things like that. Twitch still available. Raze is actually a big Twitch player. I don't know about currently in the meta, but we did see Fantix play it for the Chiefs in week 1. So Chiefs aren't a team that's unfamiliar with that one, as they do pick up the Gnar.
Yeah, they certainly weren't. They also played it with a Shen, a little bit of a submarine comp going on. I mean, you get something like a Kha'Zix in there, and there's just implicit pressure all over the map. So Caitlyn Gnar, 2 shoving side lanes right now you would expect coming out of the Chiefs. And a blind pick, Orianna. The champion that we have not seen all that much. And with Ryze still available, with Malzahar still available, very interesting that Babbitt would pick that one up for Ryoma. And Ryoma returns a favor to Paprise and hovers Shock's clock in the mid lane.
I mean, Zilean has been played support up. Wouldn't be unheard of, I think, but I think they should be picking their AD carry right now.
It was played briefly as support in Ardent Sense of meta when you could go Bond of Stone. But it's going to be a blind pick Alawi, which will allow Camille, which will allow the Alawi counter pick if they would like it.
Yeah, potentially. They can pick it up here before we get to the second phase bans, but I am surprised that Chiefs didn't pick up the AD carry. The Nunu pairs best with something that is auto attack based. You put it with something like a Jhin, not quite as effective. So I assume Tectonic are going to be banning away and pinching that AD carry pull here.
But can you really pinch enough of them?
You can. I mean, you can ban away. You can ban away Twitch. You can ban away Tristana, and then you get rid of. I mean, Varus is fine, but
Varus is. I personally think the Varus is the strongest AD carry on the patch, and apparently Tectonic agreed because that's their first ban.
Yeah, they do ban that one away. We see what Chiefs ban on the other side. They do get rid of the Malzahar.
And I mean, what are you thinking about this Tectonic lineup so far? Obviously, they've taken the support Shen. Otherwise, we're going to see something wacky in the jungle if it's like a jungle or a jungle Nara or jungle Shen. But, I mean, that's a lot of split push pressure one more time given to Paprise. Is the Caitlyn Shen lane really enough to stand up 2v2, though?
I mean, they don't need to stand up 2v2. Caitlyn Shen is a very defensive lane. You can play it that way, and they are very difficult to dive. They have the net, they have the traps. In terms of dive potential, Nunu's really not all that great, to be honest. Like, he doesn't offer a lot of CC.
Yeah, true.
So it's more dependent on... I think the most interesting thing so far in this draft will be how the Nunu fares in-game. If he can actually get down any sort of counter jungler. We've seen Tectonic Swathe played the Sejuani, played the Jarvan, and a bit of Zac here, so...
Zac would be interesting because of the tank junglers, the slowest farmer by a long way. When you do jungle clear times, no leashes, he finishes 15 seconds or so behind the next quickest.
They do lock it in.
Which against something like a Nunu, ooh, that's spicy. And Ardent Sensor support.
Yeah. They're
the only one left, really.
First game of 8.2 here for the Chiefs. First game with Raze. And they've got a Nunu, Orianna, potentially Ardent Sensor, Rakan support coming in. They're banking on Quinny K, the perfect player right now. He's coming in hot, and he wants to make a statement.
Yeah, it certainly does. We'll see on the other side of Summoner's Rift with Melzahar taken away. Not really a big Rise player. I got to assume that was a lock-in of the Zillion, otherwise we wouldn't cut away.
Potentially Champ Select drop there for some technical bug, but Quinny's got a bit of a smile on his face there, so I think they did go through with that one. So Zillion.
I don't know if there's enough damage.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a Shen, they have the tank jungler, they have a Gnar in the top lane.
And they've got a Kate.
Yeah. I mean, you're really banking on that like 6-item Caitlyn sort of team fight phase. I think that's going to be a pretty big deal. And Tectonic, I think they have struggled in this regard. So I do like them picking away the Zac there. They do scale out these games. They do stall them out to a decent degree, I guess, when they've looked okay.
Yep.
And I mean, they do have that engage potential out of the Zac. So potentially that was an adaptation from last week.
I mean, yeah, I can see your point there, but when you look what they're up against, a Camille that has so much backline threat, as well as, I mean, Xayah, apart from the fact that she has very short range, is probably one of the highest damage AD carries at 6 items. Obviously, Caitlyn is much better. Syndra was actually the pickup, so not a Zillion in the mid lane. So that gives them a much more damage-heavy comp.
Yes, absolutely there. Syndra does a lot more damage, got that outplay button with the ultimate, but I think the Xayah Rakan lane, you did ask me before they locked that one in how the bot lane's going to fare up, and I don't think Caitlyn Shen really stands toe-to-toe with Xayah Rakan, potentially the strongest level 1 bot lane in the game. And you do mention Xayah into Zac, she's one of the better AD carries because she has her own untargetable button. Normally you think of something like the Tahm Kench eating the AD carry out of the combo, but Rakan, with that combo with the Xayah, she could just run forwards and steamroll over a team fight. And then if you've got the Ardent Sensor as well, this is looking pretty good for the Chiefs.
So what is it about the Xayah Rakan level 1 that you watch out for? How does it play out? What is your job as a support?
W. Rakan W, Xayah W. Literally straight up with the combo there, with those two champions, Xayah W gives Rakan extra attack speed as well, and then you land the CC, pop Ignite, and heal isn't enough to keep you alive. If you get hit, if the Caitlyn gets hit with the Rakan W at level 1, she 100% dies because you just follow up on the side of Chiefs with those slashes.
Yeah, and of course, Xayah Rakan, one of the only duo lanes that has special interactions. They can base together, which means that you can shove an extra wave at times and play a little bit more cheekily. His E has much longer range, which is his Battle Dance, which of course is a big shield. So just a lot you have to watch out for there. However, Laura is standing alongside with, I assume, the Chiefs' coach, Fantix.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here alongside Fantix. Now, you've spent the past 2 weeks being a player and a coach for the Chiefs. How was it for you balancing both of those roles?
It was actually really difficult. Not because I had to play and coach. I think that's like actually manageable. It's just because I had to learn another role as well, and especially bot lane where you have to like communicate a lot with the support. There's a lot of there's a lot of work to put into learning ADC.
Everyone was very impressed with your ADC abilities. We saw that Chiefs first picked Nunu in this game, a champion that's come back into the meta in 8.2. But what does he bring to your team's composition?
It's not so much about what he brings to the composition. I think it's just like Nunu's just too strong of a pick right now, and Leo's had a lot of success on it. Like even though he's like known for his mechanics, he's actually a really strong Nunu player as well. So. And
taking a look at Tectonic's lineup, what's the biggest threat you can see in their draft?
I guess maybe it's just like the Syndra because like it's a champion that hasn't really been like played that often in the meta. So, but I'm still confident in Tommy because like that's like a matchup that like you'd see like a lot last year, and yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to us, Fantix, and best of luck with the series.
Thank you.
I like it. Fantix, obviously paying his dues there, said it's very hard to learn a new role. Engage onto the bottom lane, however, and Destiny's going to take a lot of damage. What? Ignite is available. Will not put that one down. If that Piltover Peacemaker hit with Ignite, I think that's lights out.
And that was a very questionable engage out of Destiny. Level 2 on the side of the Tectonic's bot lane, and he goes in anyway.
So let's talk about this a little bit. Bottom lane leash from Chiefs. Swaith started top side of the map. What does that mean for the duo lanes?
Yeah, definitely means that the bot lane, as you see, they do get priority in this matchup. And that's very important, especially against the Zyra. We were mentioning that level 1 all-in threat. And you see it staved off because they had that XP advantage. So they just get to push in. And Caitlyn is a champion that's very easy to play under the enemy turret. Here we go.
Yeah, gank into the mid lane means that Tommy's going to have to burn that heal straight away.
Dead.
Flashes and will fall down. Swaith follows him. Both summoner spells, first blood Tectonic.
First blood to Swaith. As you said, both summoner spells were Oma just caught sleeping there. Gets hit by the stun on the Syndra. Zac follows up, free kill. And Babip nowhere to be found. It's only level 3 right now, but he's just farming away the golems, looking at top lane, but that's a very good start for Tectonic.
Yeah, it certainly is. Skipping out on a second big buff for Zac, something he struggles with, means that his clear was maybe deceptively quick. And you don't expect Zac level 3 game.
Yeah, and I think this was something that's actually planned out by Tectonic here. You saw him start on the top side, right, which gives his bot lane priority. Then he comes from bot side river, and he knows that Babip, when he shows in the mid lane, is going to walk into his top side jungle. So he's already taken that buff away, has the red buff, and his blue buff is still available. So he split the jungle for the first few levels here. Got himself a successful gank. Mid lane ahead, bot lane has the advantage. Good play.
And now I really want to see what he builds because, you know, generally we would see White Smite come out just for some extra ward coverage. But against Nunu, you don't really need to spot him because you know where he's going to be. He's going to be running into your jungle. You need to be able to farm quickly. So arguably Barmy Cinder could be a better first item pickup. See whether he goes for it. Across the rest of the lanes, you can see Swiper top lane. CS advantage over the Narc counter. Of course,
had his jungler around, so...
Camille also does a very good job, level 1 to 4. Mid lane is still going in Ryoma's favor, CS-wise. Minion Dematerializer picked up by the Orianna, not so much by the Syndra.
Already has access. I mean, both of them have fairly good wave clear, but Ryoma obviously wants to use that one to get a bit of the advantage in that lane. Level 3, you can proc that earlier because you can just insta-kill a creep on that wave, but unfortunately, he was ganked and he falls down, and you did mention as Babip's doing a cheeky dance, as he's recalled, but you mentioned Swaith opting in for the jungle item with that with the Barmy Cinder versus the Green Smite.
Yep.
And there's an interesting caveat to make here on 8.2 because supports can't get that early Sidestone.
Okay.
It just doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, you don't have Frost Queen's Claim, Talisman of Ascension, or Face the Mountain, but Sidestone just in general doesn't exist. So for anyone that hasn't read the patch notes, the support item actually gives you wards once you complete that quest. The quest works functionally the same, but caps out at 500 instead of 750 gold. So you get it a little bit earlier, roughly around like 9 to 10 minute mark in an average laning phase if you can proc your support item reliably. So it does, if you are a roaming support, hinder you a little bit. I think Order Rogue's opinion on the matter, he's a big Thresh player, wants to base, get Mobies, and then if you get a successful gank off with your Mobies, the point of it was that you didn't get gold from your lane, from that item, so you could get gold from an assist, from the kill, and pick up that support item. But if you're not in lane, you're now effectively punished as a support player because you can't get access to those quest gold, and you can't get your Sidestone.
Yeah, and that's why we were wondering whether maybe range supports will come back because range supports, things like the Karma, like the Janna, want to stay in lane. That's a function. Against melees, they can proc Spell Thieves very easily, get 500 gold quite quickly. So theory that it might come back, of course, in this game, certainly not the case. Although Spell Thieves for Khan, kind of ranged. What has he got, like 350 range?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually... He really struggles to actually proc it in this matchup, to be honest, as well. Because unless he's Wing in, he's not actually interacting with the other lane.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, there are 4 members coming down here.
What?
No ball put down for the stun, so that's going to fizzle.
That was that even an attempted gank?
I mean, half-hearted.
Yeah, they didn't really... he threw the stun, but he didn't actually throw the ball with it, so nothing amounts to that one. They are... looking, what Swaith did there was pressure the mid side from that Wraith bush, but unfortunately was on top of a ward. So Chiefs knew he was coming and they just watched them walk into the bot side. As you saw Destiny get that ward into the tri-bush from around the back. So they knew it was coming. Not too much danger there, but
you can see what the idea was. They are going to stop actually just tilting. So
He's got taunt.
He is absolutely fine. What I was going to say is that obviously Syndra gets good push priority until a couple of items picked up by the Orianna, especially given the fact that it's going to be a Merc Treaderer. It means that with something like the Zac can team up, they're going straight to Dragon. It isn't Infernal. Host Dragon picked up. You can see a couple of members are here. However, they will look to back away.
Zac is not around, but neither is the Orianna. Going to force him off. Nunu does.
Taunt lands, and that's going to be a kill picked up. Raze goes down. Babip now in big trouble. Flash forward, going to throw out the ultimate skill shot. And now Swiper in here. It's going to be 1v3. Don't know whether he wants this fight. Actually dives in. Really nice stopwatch out of tilting, and that will be Swaith landing the Q. They back away, but Tectonic now 3-0.
And that's a 4v5. Paprise didn't even TP to the fight. But Bip starts up the solo dragon, calls his lanes over, but Raze with flash and heal available gets taunted up anyway, falls down the 4v5. Tectonic win it, and they're looking at the dragon as well.
And we said that the player right now to watch is Shock. They put him on an unorthodox pick one more time, but a pick with a lot of kill threat. And 3 of 3 roams down early, even without jungle help, took over that team fight.
Huge there. And you mentioned the the Oceania dragon there. Every first game of the day, we do have that Infernal, but Bip already is very chunked as we see this pick up onto Twin. Raze just falls down, nothing he can do as soon as that taunt lands, but this TP was channeled, and I'm surprised Shock actually kept committing here. They flash forward, got the vision down, Swiper can't do a whole lot of anything. He's actually playing this fairly well, as we see on the back end of that. The Hextech Ultimatum with that Orianna Shockwave combo, but as you mentioned, the nice stopwatch gets them out alive from that one.
And maybe a little bit of disrespect, honestly, out of Swiper, because he knew that stopwatches were online. That's 2 big cooldowns used that you otherwise would want to use either on top lane or mid lane because stopwatches aren't available there. And he just trusts that tilting isn't going to hit his button well enough.
Yeah, and he does, and he gets punished. So the Armor Titan loses his TP. Loses his opportunity to kill. There's not too much of a CS discrepancy in that top lane, despite Paprise not being there, but did just get to shove in the wave, was alleviated a little bit. Yeah,
and as Paprise was falling behind, I mean, any free time in the top lane, CS advantage, maybe a little bit of pressure onto the turret, will start meaning something, not to mention the fact that he got to TP back to lane and was unpunished for it, something Swiper prides himself on being able to do. This time Paprise goes in, gets the stun off the hook shot, ulti is available, throws him backwards, in comes Swaith, and Swiper does not have flash. They bang him together. Actually, that just like flew high, wide, not very handsome. He'll still fall down. And Tectonic are everywhere at the moment.
Tectonic looking good in this game. 1.5k gold lead already. Swaith gets the gank off of Paprise, cancelled the E out of Camille there. Swiper looking to latch onto the wall.
This will be first turret as well. With red buff onto turret and a tank, no demolish available, but this is a huge advantage.
And but Bip is just doing the blue buff right now. You have to think potentially Chiefs will be looking to answer on the other side of the map, but they're just going to give it up. Swiper hasn't even spawned, just spawned right there.
And as you said, Nunu just does not have the same dive pressure as something like a Zac. So you can see just has not been active on the map.
As we see this one again, we're looking for, as he dashes over the cancel.
Habit actually has to burn his stopwatch.
What?
And Destiny gets chunked as well.
What is going on?
The Chiefs are all out of sorts.
Does not look pretty right now. Does not look pretty at all. Tilting and low, just going to keep farming up the bot lane. There is that little bit of a discrepancy in CS, but
I mean, that's probably the waves they backed away to secure themselves from. Mid lane, you can see that Ryoma used the Shockwave. No summoner spells available for Shock means he goes back to lane. This is what you would expect. You would expect Ryoma dominating in lane. You would expect Raze to, honestly, with Zaya Rakan, maybe even have picked up a kill by now, but just not happening for the Chiefs.
I mean, their opportunity was kind of lost when they went for that dragon, but Bip called them over and they died around that dragon pit. They do lose a lot of the lane pressure. It allows the free base to come out from low and tilting. They're looking for something here.
Yeah, certainly are. They go in, they use that battle dance into ultimate combo. Low uses the stopwatch already. Dodgefield will go down, but he flashed out of it, but still will live. Big summoner spells used and Tectonic survived.
But Tectonic, they're sitting pretty right now. He has the TP available. He does lose his flash for the Ignite, so you'd think a good trade by the Chiefs, but the fact that they don't kill him and he just goes low means he's going to pick up the wave, he's going to base, he can just TP back if he wants to. He's not going to lose anything, really. And that's a 2-minute cooldown burnt on the Zaya Rakan in that Rakan ulti. As Swaith looking mid again.
Another gank mid lane, actually just channels that one up, does not go for it. And we mentioned, you know, maybe a lack of damage. Now the fact that they've got a Syndra, not a Zillion, that is no longer the case. Infernal Dragon going to exacerbate that problem with Syndra even further because you just don't want to give her more raw AP. If she can ever one-hit your mid laner or your AD carry, It is
That
just
does.
not fun to play against, Bryce. How many times
Absolutely,
were you
another
one hit
step.
as a support? Actually, they go in again. Ryoma actually might fall down here. Uses that stopwatch. Very good use. Will survive.
Swade, unfortunately, didn't have anything to whack him against with the Q, so went for the ulti, but fizzles anyway. But whilst we have this brief pause, I want to mention something with the supports on these items right now, because Destiny is taking advantage of the 8.2 changes. If you're a Rakan, or if you're a mage support, you have your spell thieves. You don't want to invest in that HP. HP is a fine stat, but you don't really want to be wasting gold on it. And if that's about an 800, 600 gold difference where you can get your item earlier. As we see, he's going for the Ardent Sensor. Whereas on the other side, you look at Tilting, he's just fully completed that Relic Shield line all the way up into the old Sightstone, has those 4 wards available, whereas Destiny hasn't finished his quest yet, but as soon as he does, will have the 3. So essentially a 600 to 800 gold lead from Destiny just by items purchased.
Yeah, it certainly is. However, the one caveat I will add on that is if Destiny ever runs at Shock and gets one hit,
he's gone.
He probably should have completed his Sightstone item. That bit puts on the dancing shoes is something Nunu is known for. He just moves real quick.
But you mentioned that, right? And I think that was a big change coming with Runes Reforged, because Rakan was a very strong support at that time, and we haven't seen a whole lot of him since. He's been on the fringe, he's been niche. If you don't have an Alistar available, he's a good form of reliable engage, but without, what's it called, Colossus?
Carrot Colossus, Courage of the Colossus.
Courage of the Colossus there. He doesn't have that huge shield when he goes into the team fight. Oh,
as Swathe one more time goes into the mid lane, just looking to knock him back. Nah is here, as you said. Good boomerang goes down, however, Ryoma doesn't burn anything. Paprise using his priority top, and one more time, engage bottom lane. They go in, Battle Dance combo.
Nice.
This time onto the Caitlyn. You can see the ultimate is burnt, and potentially Destiny will fall down. Quinn flashes forward. No, he doesn't. He just ults forward and picks up a kill.
Free kill for the Chiefs bottom lane here. They had to fight for it. Destiny fell very low, so I don't think they're going to get too much damage on the turret. Swathe is down here to cover, but round 2 of that attempt. Low still doesn't have the flash from the earlier one, so Chiefs say, here's one we prepared earlier. Goodbye. No TP. Can't TP back to the lane for the Caitlyn, but Shock is potentially looking.
Yeah, exactly right. Swathe goes in. Raze will just walk that one out. I'm actually surprised we didn't see a bigger fight, because whilst Rakan has a way out, there was a very deep lane ward that Paprise could have gone to. And as you can see, he's now mega. I think he was halfway through the bar when that started up. Potentially was a turnaround play for Tectonic, but they don't take it, and Chiefs slowly starting to equalize.
Not to mention, because both AD carries are on the TP, they don't have combat summoners, so Raze wouldn't have had access to the heal.
Yep.
Does have the stopwatch still available though, but already finished his Essence Reaver. 20 CS up on his opponent in low here, and that turret is very low, but we did see earlier in the game, Paprise and Swathe get that gank of the Swiper and already get first brick, so tilting and low. It's not looking pretty, but they are holding fairly decently against this Xayah Rakan bot lane.
Yeah, the thing they have to worry about is that big mid-game lull where Ray's going to be sitting on Zeal item plus Essence Reaver will be very strong. At the same time, have a Nunu buff to follow him around, so even stronger than you would normally think. And Caitlyn's diff will just be further exacerbated, so they just need to be able to avoid it. They need to do what they did last week versus Legacy and just stall out the game. Fire Dragon going to help with that. Ocean Dragon next for the Chiefs, and now that they have bottom side control, maybe not the Dragon they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely not. Definitely prefer the Ocean there. I mean the Fire, sorry. Not the Ocean, but we haven't talked too much about the Nunu into Zac. First picked by Babip. And this is kind of the thing. Into a tank jungler, they kind of just shrug him off. Obviously, Nunu can take away his camps, and that's what he's designed to do, be just a counter-jungling menace, just plotting around in your jungle being a nuisance. He's never going to kill a Zac, but he does have that about 20 CS lead.
Yep.
About 5 camps there on Babip, but because Swathe has got these successful ganks off, stun didn't land. Oh, wide.
They go for it anyway. Shockwave comes out. That's going to be a heal. And all of a sudden, Ryoma picks up the kill, gets taken back. Teleport going to come in, and Swathe is very tanky, but that is a full channeled absolute zero. Stopwatch used, and that will be Paprise burning the flash. Didn't flash himself. And Swiper again has gone for that combo, missed it, but Destiny able to pick them both up in the Battle Dance combo. Swathe will look to fall down into the Bloblet form. Teleport is available from low, so the AD carry can keep him alive if he wants to. A turret has killed Ryoma, and Destiny now is in big trouble. You can see, goes in, gets the slow, good pilt over Peacemaker, but they will just successfully disengage.
Ryoma with a 2-for-1, 2v1 play there, takes out Shock despite Swathe being on top of him, but eventually dies to the turret anyway. Swiper didn't have to burn his TP because he was always walking down in the river, so we see that stun land, or stun miss rather, so Ryoma recognizes that, goes for the Shockwave, does take the full ultimate from Syndra, but a Zac by himself isn't going to kill him, so he pops the heal here with Babip, and you see Swiper on the left-hand side of your screen here coming in. Flashes away from that Nara ulti. There you go. Big DOS just fizzles that dash there, but because Destiny's there first, you see Tilting trying to mess with Raze down the bot river. Can't get there in time. Chiefs execute a pretty nice dive.
Apart from that bit where Ioma dies, he didn't get killed, he got executed.
I mean, that's value. That's a quicker recall.
It is.
What was his death timer? Nah, it's probably like 20 seconds. That's not quicker.
That's not quicker
absolutely
anymore.
Bad luck.
But what I was going to say is that it's good to see the Chiefs looking aggressive in the early game. You can tell that they agree with your point that Nunu is not going to be the same tank that Zac is going to be late game. Not going to have the same form of disruption. Sure, they have Zyra Khan, but once again, Caitlyn late game is an absolute menace. So they're looking to push the tempo of the game, and they equalize at 17 minutes in.
Tectonic had the gold lead for the first part of this game. Ocean Drake is still available, and Chiefs might look for that one, as they just did here. Tectonic take down that Rift Herald.
And Rift Herald against control mages. I mean, it's always been something that you can prioritize, but I feel against Orianna, you know, against the likes of Azir, Victor was the old one. Very hard to break their turret, so potentially a higher priority should be placed on the objective.
100%. Makes it a lot easier to break their turret when you have a huge purple worm. Not a worm, he's just a beetle. Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
I had my microphone on my head there. I was about to take a sip of tea and could just not afford to see Rift Herald misgendered. See, DOS hanging out mid lane, Swiper hanging out mid lane, sorry. Babip taking his Raptor camp at the moment. Surprised that they actually haven't swapped lanes and tried to maybe put Na into the bottom lane. Maybe get Syndra into the long lane, because she would have legitimate kill threat on either Orianna or the Camille if they try to side lane against her right now.
Raze uses that spellbook to swap out his TP for the cleanse there, so doesn't want to get caught up in any Shen taunts or the stun from Syndra. And that's kind of what happens, right? The Syndra is the threat onto Raze, but if he's stunned, he obviously can't ultimate away the Unleashed power, so we'll take the full brunt of that. So Cleanse stopping the setup CC means you don't take the damage from Syndra, so a wise choice there. But
and interestingly enough, it is actually the Chiefs that go for the the rotation. And as soon as they see that, they just pop Rift Herald. However, no minion wave there means that this turret will probably survive.
Swaith makes the rookie error of casting the Rift Herald alongside your wave instead of before the wave arrives. So the wave falls down before it even lands there, so Raze can have an easy job of clearing that one out with the help of Destiny.
The Chiefs have really mucked up this lane swap. Orianna generally never wants to go to a side lane. She's actually, along with Azir, I would say the two worst mid lane side laners in the game.
You think Syndra's better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Syndra can at least generally kill someone as she's being ganked. Orianna doesn't have that luxury most of the time. The idea with Syndra is you never flash away from a gank. You flash into the squishiest member and try and one-hit them.
Ulti R. Yeah. Okay, see if that one comes up. But you see that lane swap out of the Chiefs, and you mentioned they just basically lose a turret for free. They're looking to go onto the top side.
And 90% of their mid lane turret as well. I mean, it's not like they just lost bottom lane, which was probably inevitability. But the mid lane turret health, I just feel like the Chiefs should have been able to hold that forever with Orianna.
I mean, maybe they relied too much on Fantix in terms of shot calling for the first 2 weeks here, because Chiefs do look a bit lost in this matchup against Tectonic.
That's a good point. You obviously, previous Chiefs member, as actually Babip strolls in, takes that away, now will be engaged on and will be taken back. Taunt should be layered there. It will be. They get out of the shockwave as well. Swaith on the front line now is very tanky. Good double stun coming out. Swiper gets stunned up as well. And I feel like even though that's a 50-50 in a 4v5 again, Tectonic are chasing them out of their jungle.
Paprise wasn't even there, looking to build up the Mega, but unfortunately doesn't have access to the Flash, so even if he does, won't be able to get him to the Chiefs, but they expend a lot. Babip almost loses his life, but instead just loses his Flash there to get himself out of dodge, as Tectonic are looking at this really, really low mid turret.
They certainly are. That's going to be a stun landing. They go in. Quinn is able to jump out of that. Will get taken back, however. Swaith is under the turret. Big Mega Gnar, however, will not hit enough people. Swiper falls down very low. No MR. And one more time, Tectonic win the team fight.
And what is going on by the Chiefs here? They're defending that turret. It's on 200 HP. Tectonic almost found the perfect engage, but the flashes come out from Raze to get himself out of that Gnar combo. Looked big, had potential, but unfortunately didn't land onto too many members, as you said. Swiper looking a little bit perturbed in his player cam right now. Tectonic are looking for a secondary.
Shockwave hits 4 members, however, this is still going to be the turret going down. Taunt misses, tilting. That is an error you cannot afford. And now the Chiefs will chase out Tectonic. They lose their turret, but they pick up a kill.
Yeah, potential overextension by tilting there. gets himself into the middle of the Chief members as they respawn, but they do pick up the turret anyway, so you have to say worth. Two turrets for the death.
Probably could have killed Ryoma though.
Yep.
If that taunt hits, I think that they trade 1-for-1. Tilting still dies.
Yep.
Of course. Who cares? You pick up a mid laner for it. Destiny needs to be careful, as you already mentioned, with that Ardent Sensor Rush. Very gold efficient item, but incredibly squishy initiating Rakan.
Absolutely. And I think the interesting thing about this game so far, we haven't seen Tectonic really in a winning position in their game. So it's very hard to touch on.
5-kill Urgot?
Well, yes, but that game was a bit of a fiesta in terms of like people were just fighting all over the map.
Everyone was behind, but Shock was so far ahead that they were technically ahead, even though they weren't.
In gold, but not necessarily map pressure. And I think this is a situation where, oh, hold that thought. Destiny's going.
Actually goes in. Shockwave only onto the support, and now Swathe on the back line will take Raze back into the turret. Babip there as well. Very nice ultimate out of Raze, but Babip one more time falls very low. Tilting as well. Disengages there.
And another man disadvantage for Tectonic, and they just walk away. They stave off the die there. Destiny good engage, but is flashed out by Low with that clean splash. Gets himself out of the shockwave, so only hit Tilting. You have to think of that taunt landed onto the two members by Tilting with that Zac ulti, with the Kidnap. That could have gone much better because they have that layering of CC with the Kidnap into the taunt, into the traps.
And I like this out of Tilting because, as we said, he played Karma. He's known for his Sonar in solo queue. Definitely not the melee support guy. However, you can see that much like Shock, is putting that effort into diversifying his champion pool. And even though it hasn't been perfect, you would argue still more efficient and more effective than the Karma week 1.
I mean, 100%. He played the Karma, but then the second game he did actually play that Shen, and already in week 1, he did look significantly better there. So obviously has been practicing. But I do want to go on to this point that I was making before. Tectonic, we haven't really seen them in a game with a lead where they should have map control, so it's been very hard to touch on what their macro looks like. You know what I mean? Their games have been either very far behind or they had this really weird kill lead on the Urgot. So it'll be interesting to see now. They do only have about a 2,000 gold lead at the moment, but they do have access to all this map control. Chiefs are hard forcing in the mid lane, but every time this happens, they have the side lanes pushed in. So it'll be interesting to see if they can set up something around the Baron, around the Dragon, see what their map play actually looks like.
And I want to see how disciplined they are, because right now, Caitlyn is in that trough. However, she's very close to getting out of it. Already has the second Zeal item picked up, went for a cheeky cull, which when you're behind is a risk, but now that ahead is paying off dividends. So if they can get to double Zeal item, especially given there's no real tank apart from Babip, who's arguably ignorable, Caitlyn should be okay here.
Should be. Cleanse coming up fairly soon. No flash right now, but Tectonic are just sweeping out that Baron pit, looking to set up in this top half of the map.
Is Cleanse the right choice here? Let's have a look. Against Camille, quite useful against the stun.
Arguable. I think it's a 1v1.
Paparazzi actually looking for the 1v1 versus Swiper. Has the frozen mallet, misses the boomerang.
I'm going to be the first person to call bollocks on that E. That did not touch the wall. Swiper just gets out, but Tectonic.
They start up the Baron. Swiper is being dove bottom lane, it looks like. Swathe has to, Paparazzi, sorry, has to flash away. And he actually looking to pick up the solo kill. Will miss it, and he gets it. Paparazzi kills the Armored Titan.
And Shen comes through as well. On the back end of that, they will get this turret. Chiefs, do they have enough members on the top side of the map to contest anything? Looks like they're just going to poke around the vision, clear that vision out.
This is just... I mean, everyone out there's like, you have a Nunu, just do the Baron. But if ever the Zac lands a combo onto one of your squishies, Syndra's just going to kill him.
Yep, 100%. 100% Paparazzi. We do see this 1v1 again. Swiper flashes the boomerang, but goes in anyway. The Shen ulti largely unneeded because Paparazzi just picks him up with the hyper proc anyway.
But I like it. This is what Shen is supposed to do. The communication clearly there. Maybe there would have been a turn if a significant outplay was on the card, so they call it in. And once again, they just go back to this Baron dance. Still don't think that they're going to look to start it, but they're just looking to keep... Oh, actually, they go in. Able to pick up a kill onto Low. That's a big misplay, and now Swathe will fall down. Tectonic, as we're complimenting them, probably going to lose Baron.
And Destiny is 100% the saving grace of this Chiefs roster right now. With Quinn on this Xayah Rakan duo, he's getting all of their successful engages off, and he's the only person doing it right now. He got that pick into the mid lane. He got those kills.
Still looking there. Ooh, 300 health. That's a low smite.
That is a low smite for a Nunu with Consume. He was stunned, but...
You can smite through stun?
Yep, you can. Looking grim, but as I said, Destiny is the entire reason the Chiefs are back in this game right now. Very lucky, and Paparazzi on the side of Tectonic. We did mention in the pre-game show saying that Shock possibly the best performing member on this Tectonic lineup, but right now I think Paprise is looking pretty good. He's had a few good Gangplank performances, and Alawi.
He's also going PD,
Yep.
which I'm a massive fan of. Maybe even, and I say this very hesitantly, Atlas's favourite item on the NAR. The Runar's Hurricane.
Oh, that's gross.
Perpetually mega.
Okay.
Just build your rage bar so quickly.
Okay. I can see it.
Always mega, but it's probably going to be
interesting.
PD because he's against a split pushing threat.
100%. Like 100%. Absolutely. There's no chance that's a Rune Arms.
I'm going to say 99%.
Okay. I'll
Give me the one.
I'll give you that. But as we do see the state of the map right now, Chiefs did pick themselves up that Mountain Drake. Not going to be too useful as they've already taken down the Baron, but this is where they start picking up the gold. This is where the gold lead's going to come from. There's so much standing gold on the turrets on Tectonic side of the map, so Chiefs, with this Baron buff, should be able to push in the wave, should be able to take a lot of that down.
But talk to me about the state of the game. Your favourite build on Rakan was double engage item, Talisman of Ascension,
Can't do it
plus
anymore.
Righteous Glory.
Yep, it's
impossible to do. So, I mean, 3-item Caitlyn, nearly 3-item on Shock as well, 3-item coming on Paprise. I mean, do they win a 5v5 at the moment, Chiefs? Is it all on Destiny's engage?
I mean, it's on the engage from Destiny or Sway. If you get a perfect engage off on with either of those members, if Destiny gets onto the carries of Tectonic, or in reverse, if Sway gets onto the carries of Chiefs, which I will add is much harder, they do have access to the cleanse and stuff like that. So if these engages do come out, it could swing either way, but obviously Chiefs a bit stronger right now. You did mention those item spikes, and they do have the Baron buff, so it's a lot easier for them to push in the waves, and Swiper is really the only one that's struggling. A bit. Gets slapped around by a gooey arm, but
so we were having a fun conversation yesterday, Ejim, that obviously members at home not privy to, but this is a typical 1-4 situation where your 1 is much stronger, but your 4 is a little bit weaker. So in this situation, Swaith and Tilting should do what they're doing. Hold shallow vision and just wave clear until Caitlyn is 6 items and Syndra is 6 items.
But I have a small point to make on that. In this 1-4, specifically against the Shen, as hold that thought, but Bip, once again, the gooey arm is slightly more successful on the side of Swaith, but because he's Shen, I say right now he goes bot. He just walks down the lane bot. He has that pink in the tri-bush, so he knows he can't be spotted there. He can find his way around behind Swiper. And if he can just go down there, if they get that kill, then they have TP and Shen ulti available. And they can force a 4v5 with the Zac on the other side of the map, but obviously right now not choosing to opt in for that play. Yeah, very risky play. Something we see a lot of the time out of Swiffer actually, shadowing his split pusher if he's on something like Rise. Right now we see PD was picked up. Stoneplate also picked up on the side of Zac. Maybe looking for an engage here. Is he? Nah. And I think that's the right call. That turret's going to go down anyway, so. And as I said, this is not the time in the game where you need to be hasty if you're Tectonic. If ever there is a time to err for caution, is when your Caitlyn has got through pretty much all of the weak parts of the game. Oh, actually flashing engage. That's going to be a massive shockwave by Ioma. One more time, Destiny picks up the kills for his team. Paprise looking for Swiper in the side lane. Swiper with red buff faring a little bit better here in Mega Gnar. Not going to be able to kite him out, and the stun does come across. So Paprise falling down very low, although that return damage was pretty nasty. And that was a 3-man play out of the Chiefs here. Swiper's going in. Yeah, he is going in. Looking for the solo kill here. Will be able to pick it up. The Armored Titan strikes back, and that just might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Absolutely. Chiefs get onto this in here, but that was a 3-man play. Quinn Raze gave Destiny the avenue with that dash into the fight, followed up by the flash ulti to get onto those 2 carry members, onto the Caitlyn, onto the Syndra. They have the shockwave over the top, 3 kills, and this side lane is a bit of a mess. Paprise shouldn't be dying 1v1 to a 1-3 Camille right now, especially since he's had those 3 items, the tabbies, and he just picked up the PD, so he's 50 CS up. An item ahead. And was a whole full item and a bit ahead. And they're just trading. This is the solo queue side lane trading back and forth. Has come out. Oh, Swaith misses it. If he just had been a little bit quicker on that trigger, would have been able to pick that one up. But now a 4,000 gold lead. Destiny's ultimate is back up and available. And Tectonic just look all out of sorts. Do lose the turret, nothing further. The next dragon spawning in about a minute and a half, but Chiefs already broken the base. That's the hardest thing for them to do right now. And we do have that wombo combo. We were mentioning it. The engage from either side, if it does land, will be detrimental. And will be huge. Destiny time and time again keeps laning these combos. And not just laning them, but laning them onto the priority targets. And that's the hardest thing. So big props to him right now. Has not died. 205. Got himself the locket. He's chilling.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, a little bit less squishy now. And really, if you just put everyone in your CC and they die before they come out of it, you don't need any health.
Yep, 100%.
Taking no damage.
That was the move speed build. That's what you need. Talisman of Ascension, first item. That's all you wanted. You just wanted the move speed to get into people, and once you're in there, you don't care what happens. If you've landed the engage, then you're Gucci. But
you maybe want a second shield to go into Raze, so you get your second ardent proc, and then you just dud.
Yep.
I also, by the way, this Rakan skin, when he starts zooming in his ultimate, is maybe the best ulti animation in the game.
It is the best Rakan skin. Also known as the only Rakan skin, but it is also the best.
As we see, actually,
Paprise
Rakan as well as the Nunu behind Paprise now, so he just has to go for the fight. Shen ulti will come across. He's going to go Mega, potentially. Will be able to throw them into the wall if he wants all three members. That's a dodge zone down, but Paprise, with the rest of the Chiefs lineup converging, will fall. And the Chiefs, a little bit too far ahead now.
Tilting does actually complete the ultimate there and realized it was a mistake and ran away very quickly, burnt the flash, so doesn't have access to that flash taunt there.
And Tectonic, I mean, not brave enough with the waves for my eyes. Don't get top wave pushed out at all. Mid lane, they're going to be teleported to by Swiper. So this is going to be the full court press put on by the Chiefs. Trap line is down.
Very hard, especially without Baron, to break through that trap line. You don't really have anyone...
Not going across. Destiny... Actually, that was Raze. It wasn't Destiny at all.
Almost, but other than the Nunu, they don't really have anyone that can tank that. And only level 15. Frozen Heart, Spirit Visage, not too tanky. Especially when Tectonic have follow-up CC in the Zac and the Syndra, so it doesn't want to tank through that bot side. They do take the open in hit for free.
And how they just walk through the base. I mean, that's one way to get past the trap line.
Yeah, just go around it. Flank the traps there. The minion wave is a very long time away.
The detour was set up. That road is closed, unfortunately.
Low still, he's blocking it off. He's got the lollipop there, says with his stop sign. No thank you. Go around. But the wave has landed. The turret on the Nexus are getting hit, but it tanks up one.
Yeah, exactly right. Gives them a way out if they do have to withdraw. One more time, Swathe goes in. That is going to be Raze chunked out. Will get brought back and will... Oh, no, he won't fall down. Raze kiting back like a genius. Destiny goes in and is now looking for the rest of the team on the back line. Will be Swiper picking up low. And Swathe, the only member left alive, will have to go back to his Nexus. Gets turned into Bloblet. This is going to be the ace potentially coming across for the Chiefs Esports Club, and definitely should be the game.
And Tectonic look for their only option. They take it, they look for the engage, can't quite, as you say, kill Raze. He lives on the back end of that fight, does so much damage. Destiny knocking up people left, right, and center. And Chiefs pick up the 1-0.
I mean, they get the victory.
Just, yeah, it wasn't pretty.
But, yeah, you can kind of see Destiny was like, ooh.
That says it all. His face right then says it all. That's exactly what they'll be feeling right now. Ryoma also doesn't look happy.
But I think eventually, Tectonic haven't taken a game yet.
Yep.
But we're going to talk about ease of schedule for Order in a little bit. But to go against Order, Legacy, Chiefs, first 3 weeks, arguably one of the hardest schedules you could draw, unless you get Chiefs, Dire Wolves, maybe Legacy or Order, something like that. And Tectonic's had a good game against each of them. Against Order, they had a snowballed Urgot. Against Legacy with a standard comp went to 41 minutes. Now against the Chiefs, they had a gold lead at 22 minutes into the game. This is a team that people may need to start giving a little bit more respect to.
I mean, yes, in saying that they haven't won and they've lost every single game and they've gone 0-2 every week. So it's not like it's good, but it's not looking awful, I think. And they are getting better. That game is this week, based on what they had in the past 2 weeks, probably their best game to date. They had the biggest gold lead. They did make a few mistakes here and there.
And it only gets easier. Like, my point is, if you were up by, a couple of thousand gold against the Chiefs, and you play that way against a Sin, or if you use last week's example against someone like an AV right now, who was expecting to be playing much better than what they were against the Chiefs, you can arguably start picking up those sneaky victories and start building a season here.
And I do also want to mention that it's a lot easier to continue improving when it's not like you just lose every lane phase. You're like, oh, guys, we just need to get to late game. Like, but if you're just getting hard crushed in every single lane, then what do? Your coach can't. You go into the back room in between the games. Your coach be like, hey, just be better. That doesn't work like that.
Or like the worst option than that is like, hey, let's just pick to cheese lane every game because we're not really getting to team fight. So let's give you 1-on-1 and 2v2 champions.
Yeah, 100%. So, but what that game showed us is that they can actually stand up to people to some respect, in the lane phase, their top side of the map was good there. Paparazzi got ahead. Swathe was ganking both those lanes. Did a lot early, and Babip on the Nunu didn't get a whole lot done. Shock got that early kill there, and it looked decent.
Yeah, you would actually nearly say, and I mean, this is being pretty critical, that the Chiefs won that game in spite of Babip. Didn't really, like, Nunu's early game supposed to be incredibly strong. Didn't keep an eye on Swathe at all. In fact, Swathe was everywhere in the early game. And then in the late game team fights, it was really Ray's destiny as well as Ryoma.
I mean, you can say that though, but Nunu is kind of one of those passive value champions, right? Like, he's not going to be landing stuns and doing anything. He's just going to W Quinn, and if Destiny gets the engage, then Quinn's just going to pop off in the team fight. So it's hard to say that he was playing those like team fights poorly, because it's very difficult to see how he's actually performing, because he doesn't have a lot of upfront value.
That's kind of my point. Like, sure, you pick Nunu for the extra Phantom Dancer, but you also pick him for everything he does in the early game. Dragon control. Wrong.
Yeah.
Like, ability to keep lanes,
Wrong.
Did not happen either. Keep tabs on the other jungler and counter jungler the crap out of him. Didn't happen. Like, I mean, you can't just say he team fought well on Nunu.
I mean, I didn't say...
I could W Rays.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I wasn't saying he team fought well. I'm just saying he didn't team fight bad. But, I mean, I 100% agree with you. That early call on that Infernal Drake really lost Chiefs the early game.
Yep.
Whether it was his call or someone else's, you don't really know. But he was the one standing there taking half his health from the Dragon, brought Raze over, and he just gets gibbed in a taunt. So, just not a pretty win out of the Chiefs in any sense of the word.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
Backpedaling at the rate of knots. The Chiefs apologists on the analyst desk is all out of sorts. However, that is all from us. Let's throw it over to Laura and Choo Choos.
Thanks, guys. Choo Choos and I are here to talk about some elements of that game. And I have to say, right off the bat, it was an action-packed game to kick off the weekend. Tectonic had a great early game. And even though the Chiefs were able to win it, what went wrong for them in that early game?
As Bryce said, the Infernal Drake, I think there was a little bit of disrespect coming out of the Chiefs, because they did tank that Dragon up for quite a long time. Ryoma on the Orianna was still clearing a minion wave at his tower, so he wasn't able to rotate down. And I will mention that the Caitlyn teleport did come down, but he didn't do too much. But I will give a shout out to the Shen, to Tilting and Shock for essentially 2v4ing this. And then you can see the Zac is finally rotating into the fight, but by now, they've won the team fight, forced the flash out of Swiper, and Nah didn't have to do anything. He builds up his solo lead up in the top lane, and that was really Tectonic got the Fire Dragon after that, and that secured them a 3,000 gold lead 12 minutes into the game. So I think that was quite poor play coming out of the Chiefs.
And we were saying upstairs that it's something we've seen a little bit coming out of Tectonic, that they aren't able to hold on to the leads that they get in games. And the Chiefs were able to flip the game on their head around that play in Baron.
Yeah, this was tough to watch, because they did see Orianna clearing a minion wave at the top earlier on, and they did ping it out, but unfortunately, Tommy is able to get a really nice ultimate in Fog of War. They didn't actually see him, and that does catch Low and Swathe out of position, and this is the Baron that eventually swings that gold lead back in their favor and eventually secures them the game. But I will mention that just before this, they were setting up the Baron really nicely. They were going quite deep into the enemy jungle and clearing some wards, and Paparazzi was able to get enough pressure to get a solo kill on Swiper. So I will mention that Tectonic are playing these games quite well, better than I expected into a top-tier team, but just one small mistake like that did cost them the game, and it's a pity, but, you know, there's always game 2 and maybe a game 3.
And you were also saying upstairs that Ryoma blind-picked the Orianna, but you have a bit of history with him on Orianna.
The blind-pick Orianna did throw everyone off, but I think Tommy, if he ever does watch this VOD back, I think he knows that he has been doing very well into me in solo queue, and maybe built up some confidence to blind pick that one. But you could see in that game, he's definitely quite good at the champion, and I think he'll probably look at getting it in the second game.
You know, you've been around the OPL for quite some time now. You've been on 3 different teams, I believe.
Yeah, a couple.
Who's the mid laner that you look up to the most?
That I looked up to, probably Swiffer. Tommy, when my last competitive season was when Tommy was on my Challenger Series team. So now that I can watch him be on the Chiefs having such great success, it's I'm really proud that I was he was below me, and now he's probably up here above me. But yeah, he's playing well, and I'm looking forward to the next game.
Who was the most fun person to be on a team with in your OPL years?
Are these questions? These are Twitter questions.
No, they're not. These are just my questions to you.
The best person to be on a team with, Kunin was pretty fun. Kuden, I was on a team with him for a split, and he was pretty funny. He was a pretty funny guy to be with. Bryce, Cardred, and Minky Whale. Minky Whale was always kept me smiling. So. Yeah, they were great guys.
Speaking of those Twitter questions, remember, if you have any questions at home for Choo Choo, send them over to our Oceanic Pro League Facebook page or our Twitter with the hashtag #LikeNoOther, and Choo Choo's will be answering them later on. But don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be back with game number 2 between the Chiefs and Tectonic right after this break.
That's going to be a kill, and all of a sudden Ryman picks up the kill, gets taken back. Teleport going to come in, and Swaith is very tanky, but that is a full channeled absolute zero. Stopwatch used, and that will be Paparized, burning the flash. Didn't flash himself, and Swiper again has gone for that combo, missed it, but Destiny able to pick them both up in the Battle Dance combo. That's going to be a stun landing. They go in. Quinn is able to jump out of that, will get taken back, however. Swaith is under the turret. Big Mega Gnar, however, will not hit enough people. Swiper falls down very low, no MR. And he's actually looking to pick up the solo kill. Will miss it, and he gets it. Paprice kills the Armored Titan. Oh, actually, Flashy engaged. That's going to be a massive shockwave by Ryoma. One more time, Destiny. That is going to be Rage chunked out. Will get brought back, and will... Oh, no, he won't fall down. Rage kiting back like a genius. Destiny goes in, and is now looking for the rest of the team on the back line. Will be Swiper picking up low, and Swaith, the only member left alive.
They look for the engage, can't quite, as you say, kill Raze. He lives on the back end of that fight, does so much damage. Destiny knocking up people left, right, and center. And Chiefs pick up the 1-0.